Hello and welcome everybody back to Moneyball. It is going to be episode 2, video 3 of the series. And we're going to get into some stuff today. The first thing I want to get into is a few people have asked a question. They've asked, what leagues do I have loaded and that kind of stuff. So these are the leagues that I have loaded in my save. And when it comes to detail level that you set for the leagues, I don't think it matters whether you have no detail or full detail, as long as you keep it the same for everybody else. So obviously, the league that you play in, the competitions you play in will be set to full detail. But for the rest of the leagues, you can either set them all to full detail or have them all set to no detail. I think as long as you have that and you don't have like a bit of a mix and match situation, I think as long as you keep that the same, everything else is fine. And you got to remember that not everybody's playing on a PC like mine, so people have got very different like machines they're playing on. So yeah, I don't think it matters whether you use full detail or no detail for the stats you're trying to buy from, as long as you keep it consistent. That's the first thing. And second of all, if you are going to do something like I've done and you're going to do like a holiday save to look at the stats you're going to buy from, as long as that is from the same setup you've got that you're actually playing, it's fine. So for example, you don't want to do a holiday save with everything, I don't think, in full detail. And then when you go to play the Moneyball save yourself, you're then doing it in no detail. Trying to keep it the same. It doesn't matter which way you do it. I think just keeping it the same is the most important thing to try and do. But so yeah, that's my league setup. That's what we've got here. Now, the next thing for us to actually get to, we're going to go through and get to the Europa League group stage draw. So we're going to skip through to that. And we'll find out who we get in our first Europa League group stage. Right, here we go then. Europa League group stage draw. So I've just gone ahead and drawn out all the teams there. I'm going to get myself out the way actually here as well, so I'm not covering anything. So we'll get ourselves out the way. Right, let's see. Let's generate pot 2. We're actually in pot 3 over here. So we're going to just generate through pot 2, see if there's a group of death to avoid. I mean, the group with Liverpool and Braga isn't looking great, is it? And Ajax West Ham doesn't look great either. So let's see who gets drawn out here in pot 3. This is our pot now. So Brighton, our family club, our friends, have gone into group A. Genk have gone into group B, which means you know what's coming. Union draw Braga and Liverpool. Look at that. And if we go through pot 4 just to generate the rest of the teams, I mean, like, so that's our group. We've got Liverpool, Braga, and Panathinaikos in a group C. Great. That is great. Not the best, is it? Let's be honest about it. It's not great, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, Union handed tough group. Yeah, I mean, good luck, manager. Okay, right. I think the next thing to do will be to come back for our first ever game in the Europa League group stage. Obviously, the first time for us as the, I was going to say owners, not the owners, as the general manager of the football club. Our first game in the Europa League group stage is going to be against Liverpool. So we're going to go ahead and skip through to that. So we will come back for the game as Liverpool and see how we did in the 2 home games against 2 teams that are up there in the top 5, right? So we'll come back for the Liverpool game and see how things are looking in the league. So off camera, we managed to get a 2-2 draw against Antwerp at home and then a 2-1 win against Genk, leaving us currently 3rd in the table, which is quite impressive. Only 1 point off of the top. Could be an early title race for us. You never know. Obviously, we looked at this at the end of the last episode. We won't go back through the stats too much right now. So let's watch against Liverpool. I'm just interested to see what happens. I think what's pretty good here is I think that what would be 2 good games to do is to play against Liverpool. We could maybe come back for, is there a title game? Maybe Bruges here? Maybe Club Bruges, and then come back for Liverpool again. Maybe we could do these 3 matches here and see how things have been looking up. But yeah, let's have a look through them. We're playing against Liverpool. Let's see how we get on. First game. Obviously, it's first game in Europe for us in the group stage. And it's also a good opportunity to see just how far off we are from a team like Liverpool. So interested to see how we get on here. I really don't know how it's going to go. My gut feeling is we're going to struggle, but we also could get a result. We've got the Mourinho factor within us at the moment. So let's see how we get on. Okay, we go then. It is the Europa League against Liverpool. Let's see how we get on. First of all, let's see what the team is going to be selected. Of course, this can be wrong, as we've seen before. Lepu's team won't be playing pivots, but we know that's not going to happen. So it'll probably be, I think the pivot playing the right wing are going to be switched again. Slightly worse. Oh, hang on. There you go. There's some music for you as well. Some Europa League music. Pretty good team from them. And we'll see how the team gets on. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, both teams playing 4-3-3. Liverpool have a highlight here. They go and whip it into the box. It's going to be cleared away. Canatin's going to whip it in towards the far post, headed away again, then get a second phase shot. I just realised it's going to be McAllister versus McAllister. You've got Alexis McAllister playing against his brother, Kevin McAllister, who's our player, playing currently left back. So that's quite interesting thing to watch out for there. If there's any big challenges going in on each other. Our first choice goalkeeper is up, by the way, don't forget. As I mentioned I think I mentioned at the end of the last episode. If I didn't, then yeah, our first choice goalkeeper is up for multiple weeks as Liverpool do 2 near post corners in a row. And we are going to clear this one and we're going to get the second phase away. It's not looking great. Nice like low block here. I don't mind this at all. This is all looking good. Not sure we're marking over here. We've got absolute wall of players in the middle as they go across the pitch. We were going to press them and not. Now we are. They're going to retain. I mean, we're looking pretty solid here. The thing is, are we going to win the ball back or is this going to be their highlight? It's not looking good for us. Let's just put it that way. Diego Jota goes down the right-hand side. It's whipped back in. Is there going to be a shot from this? The longest highlight you've ever seen. It's going to be one at the near post. Not good goalkeeping. That is going to be 1-0. Not really much has happened, to be honest, in this game. We've been pretty poor. I think it's important to show some of the games early on. I think what's good about it as well is we get to know some of the players. Not just... I could have just, gone through the whole season and been like, well, the striker got 25 goals the season. His minutes per goal were, 120, whatever it is. But I think being able to watch some of the games, give the players some of the, personality. I mean, we also don't know what goal that is. We don't know what's going to happen in January, right? If we get a big offer for some players, we will sell players, then look to bring players in. But, yeah, it's also interesting. I mean, we might win the league first year, which would be incredible. But yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time watching matches early on. We're going to watch this game, watch the title race game coming up, and watch the final group game against Liverpool. And then that'll probably be it. We're going through to the January transfer window. Then we'll go through the January transfer window and see if there's anything for us to do there. 0 shots and goals so far. Not great. It's not gone well at all. Oh, there you go. Finally got a shot. At least we haven't put a per big 0 for that. Been battered, haven't we, really? And that's the home game. I mean, maybe we don't watch the away game because whether we need to win the game or not is, I mean, if this is how this goes at home, we're going to definitely lose the away game. So if we need to win the away game to go through, it's just not going to happen, is it? If we score this, we've got a chance of maybe stealing one. There you go. It's 2-1. We're back in it. It's just only one goal behind. We've been absolutely battered. If you look at all the metrics and the stats here, looking at this, look at that. 74% possession. We've got a chance here. Surely not. Are we going to steal one? Rodriguez flicks it on towards goal. It's cleared away. We're going to get a chance again. Rodriguez plays across goal. Surely. Rodriguez. Shot. It's a chance. We had a chance. We actually had a chance to steal one there. I mean, fair play to the boys who are coming back here. I mean, Liverpool must have, tried to see out the game and they've just ruined it for themselves there, but it was close. Right, I'm going to go on holiday through some games here. We're going to come back for the Club Brugge game on the 4th of November, and we'll see how the title race is looking, I guess. I guess we can say title race, because after 7 games, we're in the mix. So let's see how the team has done off of camera. I think the beautiful thing is, it's very unlikely to have to sack the manager the first season. He's had a good enough start where it can't go that badly wrong, can it? Surely for him to get himself in trouble. So that's good. Save us a bit of money too. How is the finances looking? Currently minus 200 grand. So that's not looking brilliant, but we'll get there with our European money. See you in a few weeks' time, and we'll see how we're doing in the league. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So it's been I guess mixed bag, good off of camera. The Europa League, first of all, has gone absolutely terribly. 3 games, 3 losses. Not good for the finances of the club. We sort of needed to get ourselves through to the knockout rounds if we could, and the answer to that is going to be that we're not. We're actually knocked out of the bloody cup as well, which that ain't good news. We lost 2-0. Did he feel the weakened side, actually? A little bit rotation there. It's still a relatively strong side, and we got beat quite comprehensively, so... in recent times, not been playing too well. We did get a few good, important wins in the league. We are, though, currently top of the league. I sat there a second ago and thought, is this actually a good thing? Because we win the league first season, then we apply our Moneyball metrics, and then we don't win the league, and then it just looks like we've gone a step backwards. So, not sure how I feel about this. I want us to do well first year. Of course you do. I want to get into the highest European football possible to get our reputation up and to get our money into the club and that kind of thing, and to be able to attract the best players. But winning the league might be, I don't know, we'll see what happens. There's a long way to go, of course. But we're doing very well, aren't we, in the league? So we're going to play against Club Brugge today. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm probably not going to watch the Liverpool game. In fact, it's not the last European game anyway, but we're not going to watch the Liverpool game because there's nothing really riding on it. If we're going to get through, if there's a chance of us getting through, we'll come back for the Panathinaikos game. But for today, we'll just watch the Club Brugge game and we'll see where we end up after this. But if we win this, we could put ourselves in a very, very good position going into the Christmas period, I guess. So let's see how we get on. Here we go then. Going to be an important game in the league. I mean, the fact that we can go top of the league here is actually crazy. It is actually crazy we can go top of the league. So let's see how we line up then. We're going to be 4-2-3 here. Against 4-2-3-1. So the formation is going to match up quite nicely. We've got one pivot to mark their 10, two CMs versus their two pivots, and the other way around for them. So interesting tactical, or at least numerical matchup from the formations. 10 is 8,000 for us. It's a set piece, far post. Mourinho football nearly does it again. It's going to be, and I say Mourinho football, but like it's just, I think because because he was part of the backroom staff for so long, and the fact that the goals that we score very Chelsea 2004, 2006-esque, aren't they, across the two seasons? As we go through long over the top, and Mora goes through, plays it back. We're going to go through, have a shot. We've hit the bar, we've hit the beans, Jeff. Well, no, the beans would be the post, wouldn't it? I love these games. Absolutely nothing's happened. I'm the general manager. I'm going to kick back here with a nice coffee. We're going to watch the game. It'd be a lot more enjoyable if this was my actual team that I put together, though, to be honest. So, right, it's a corner for Club Brugge. They whip it in towards the far post. Headed away. I think the good thing is, like I said this, I think before in the last sort of section, that we can't really have a bad enough season from this point for it to be like a disaster, as in like getting relegated. Getting relegated would have been the worst thing to happen. But so we're getting, Rodriguez goes up, heads it just over the bar. So at least we're safe now from having an absolutely disastrous first season. Yeah, I'm still not totally sure what to do in January, whether we are actually going to look for players or not. It's going to depend on if we get any offers, I think, for our current players. If we get a big offer for somebody, we'll definitely go through, but I think they've at the bar there. There's a really good interview with the Brighton CEO where he talks about like how whenever they lose a player, they're never worried because they've already got the next player lined up either on their, database or already at the club who's out on loan or somebody within the building already. And the same goes for staff too. Whenever somebody leaves, the next person's already lined up and ready and is ready to go. And sometimes they're even inside the building. So I think eventually getting a big database of players for ourselves, getting players in and then maybe loaning them out if they're not quite ready for the first team. Oh, it's going to be 1-0 to Club Brugge. All that kind of stuff is going to be relevant. But I think for these matches, right, it's I always envision for the matches that I'm watching to be like really tense and stuff. But it's quite hard right now. I'm almost watching like it's like a science experiment, really. We're just looking to see how are the players doing, what stats are they generating, and how they're playing in matches. It's almost like we're observing an experiment right now, and then we're going to action upon it afterwards. And we lose 1-0 to Club Brugge in a very late goal there to lose 1-0 at home, which probably puts us just behind the title race now, being 3 points behind, having lost to them at home and having to still play them away. Yeah, back-to-back defeats. It's not looking good for the manager because he's probably going to drop points in this one too. Okay, let's circle through. Let's come back for the game before Panathinaikos and let's just see how the league's been going for the next 4 matches and how the Europa League is looking too, as we approach potentially our first transfer window that we're going to apply our Moneyball principles at the club. Oh dear, the defeats and the draws are racking up for our manager. It's not great, is it? It's not great reading. We've been knocked out the cup as we saw, and in Europe we are going to finish off with just 1 point from our matches, and we're out of the Europa League already. Not great. We've got 0 wins, 1 win in the league recently, the last game we played. We fall off a little bit of the title race, and yeah, it's not been great, has it? Not been great to see. At least it gives us something to improve on, though, because we're going almost a bit too well for a while. And that's just a little update for you, that things have not been going well at all in the months of, November and a bit of December. So, going to continue through. What we'll do is Club Brugge game here. That is the last game before the winter break. As you can see, it's the 27th of December is this fixture, and the next one is not until the 20th of January. Probably not going to watch this one, just because for now it doesn't really matter too much, does it? But we'll come back straight after this game, and we'll have a quick recap of how the league looks. There's only another 3 matches in the league until then, 1 in the Europa League. So let's have a quick look, and let's see how things are developing, because, we're starting to go through quite a bad run of games. The December update is the following. Undefeated. We are undefeated in the month of December. Starting off with a game against Cercle Bruges. Yeah, going completely undefeated. Not scoring more than 3 goals. If we scored 3 goals at all this season, I'm just looking at this. If we scored 3 in a 4-3 loss, we won 4-1 here. We do often score more than 2 goals in a game, which you think gives you a lot of opportunity to drop points, but we're still doing pretty well. Probably dropped off the title race quite a bit with especially Club Brugge being undefeated, but we're there. We're doing well. We're going to be in the European places on current trends and current form. Undefeated in the month of December. Really good recovery from the boys. And I think this still just, it still leads me to think that we should leave it like this season for transfers. I just think the club's in a really good position and there aren't too many players that are wanted like for transfers by anybody. Let's take a quick look. It's almost like a mid-season review, this, isn't it, to a point. It's not quite mid-season, but like just having a quick look here. I'm just looking at the players that he's not used at all. So like if you look at, I guess, here downwards, all the players that we're going to highlight just here, pretty much all of these have been used hardly at all. So it's quite interesting to see how much the rotation the manager puts in. So if we look at this here, so he's basically using 14 players to try and challenge all the trophies. I think from doing this before, this is the one thing that I sort of noticed too, was that when we play FM as players, I think most of us would like to have almost 2 players for every position, so you have 22 players you can rotate, etc. Right? Whereas I think the AI managers tend to prefer to have they'll use lesser players and do little rotations. Maybe they're better at load management of the players and they're able to get players to be fitter, or they're happier to select players that aren't totally fit for games as well. Maybe it's a bit of that. It's more realistic, I think, for how teams, like if you look at Bielsa managers like that, there's lots of managers that go with smaller squads and pick the same players for most games. Like most teams you think of have got the starting 11 plus a few extras that you would associate as the real first team core players, and then everybody else becomes proper rotational players. So I think it's quite in line with a lot of teams historically. I don't mind this, but it's something that we can be aware of, that we don't need to sign 22 players for the AI manager. He's not going to use them anyway, right? So we could probably get away with trying to sign, I don't know, rather than, if you think of a back four, right? Rather than getting 4 centre-backs, 2 left-backs and 2 right-backs, you could probably get away with having maybe 2 left-backs, 2 right-backs and 3 centre-backs, maybe as a maximum. And then having one of those full-backs that could play centre-back too. So you've got an emergency option there as well. And then maybe the pivots, right? You have only 2 pivots and one maybe can play centre-back, but then one of the centre-backs can play pivot as well. So you basically try and create a 22-man squad within 17 players. Maybe that's something we need to be very aware of, and it will help us with keeping our costs down. Because right now, finances are currently not great. We're currently at minus £5.5 million. And our stadium isn't the biggest, by the way. I don't think I really showed off the stadium, but capacity is only 8,081 capacity for us. We haven't got the biggest stadium. So it's a proper challenge for us, this. We've got a lot of challenges and things going, I wouldn't say against us, but that make it an added little challenge here. So I think that Kevin Rodriguez looks like he's going to be the player at the end of the season that's going to get, the interest. He's got 13 goals already. He's absolutely banging them in from the wing as well. I don't think he's playing as the striker, right? Which makes it quite impressive. If you look at minutes per goal here, minutes per goal, just going to go up to the bottom. So, yeah, Gustav Nilsson comes off the bench quite a bit. But yeah, the strikers. So the difference between Kevin Rodriguez and Amor, who are both playing almost every game, is quite drastic. But yeah, how many games has Kevin Rodriguez played as a striker? None. He's not played a striker. That's really impressive. So, I mean, if I was another team, Moneyball or not, you've got to be taking notice of that, right? So that's going to be interesting. A quick mid-season review of the stats. So we are currently tied 10th for possession, average possession, at 48%. Let me get out the way. I think I'm probably my least out the way over here. Yes, you've got average possession there. Okay, just move the camera so I'm like a little bit further out the way here. So yeah, you can see everything slightly easier. Yeah, we are at 6.30, scoring a lot of goals that maybe we haven't earned as much, which is quite interesting. See, non-XG per 90, or sorry, non-XG. No, it's good non-XG per 90. 1.22, we're currently 5th in that, and we have scored 33. So our total XG is 24. We scored 33, so we're currently overperforming quite a bit, probably because of Kevin Rodriguez. And I'm going to assume he scored a lot of headers. Let's just pick out a couple of goals. Let's just see where he scored. He scored 2 in this game, right? I think that he scored a few headers for us, just by the fact that I think he's 6 foot plus as a winger. So let's just see here. I've not seen any of these goals if he has, and that was just played in behind. That wasn't a header at all. And the winning goal, I mean, the centre back or the left back has set him up here. This could be anything. Second phase, set piece, sort of. Yeah, there you go. Header at the back post, but there we are. Cross completion is the highest at 19%. Goals from corners, only 2 we've got there. Pass completion ratio, we're way down the bottom. So we are not a team that likes to retain the ball and gets lots of pass completion, which is a bit of contrast to the stats that we were buying, right? So it could be that a change of manager will be needed eventually. Like, if the results weren't so good, there's a lot of areas to be concerned. But I'm not going to moan about the manager. He's getting the results, isn't he? Whether he's doing it in the designed way or not, he's getting them. So there we are. Look at defending XG against. I mean, look at that. We have got the best defensive, I guess, structure in the entire division. We've only got 16 expected goals against, right? Now, you can get this quite, I wouldn't say easily, but you can get this by just being a really good possession-based team because you're not really giving up shots. But we know we aren't that. We're not a possession-based team. And yet, our expected goals is the best in the league. That it means we've got an unbelievably good structure tactically, and the players between midfield and the back four are doing extremely well. I'm really impressed with that. This manager's really impressed me. What a hire it's been for the first year. It's not in the designed way, but it's worked so far. I'm really impressed with what he's done. The structure that we've got, I'm so impressed by. I'm almost hoping that we can, the areas where he's not holding us back, the areas that he's holding himself back in the game, if we can get the right players to almost accentuate the in-possession parts of it, we could be a really good team here. I'm really, really surprised and positive about this. And middle of the road for clean sheets. Anything else interesting here? Tackle 1 ratio, middle of the road. Tackles 1 pretty high. Shots against, we've got the second best for that. I mean, we are playing some very unlikely football, I think, to have the success we've had so far. But it's small sample size, of course. Net spend, obviously, we don't care about that. We've not spent anything yet. But just the team salary is interesting. So we've got, wow, we have got the 13th highest wage in salary, team salary in the entire division. Our team salary is 5.15 million per year. Club Brugge got 24.37. That's just absolutely incredible. They've got effectively 5 times the amount of team salary we've got. And that's what we're competing against. So there we are. I don't have too many, like, he gets on base type stats for players. But there's a few that I do sort of gravitate towards that I've just from doing this for so long now in FM that I sort of do look at is wide players conversion ratio, fullbacks progressive passes per 90 are 2 things that normally do correlate to being effective players. I think that the conversion ratio one was when on the Paris FC save, we noticed it when we were looking for wingers a lot, and we kept bringing wingers in who just weren't that effective. And in our tactic, our wingers were the ones that were getting through and getting the most like scoring chances. You know, they weren't as effective as Mbappe was for PSG. And as soon as we got some wingers that had high conversion ratio, our levels just went up substantially. But it was related to the tactic, of course. That's also important. But key tackles per 90. I like to look for this when it comes to centre backs. So I'm just going to look at key tackles per 90. Is any of our centre-backs here? Yeah, a couple of them are. 0.4532. Let's just compare that to the league leaders. What have you got here, lads, for your centre-backs? Key tackles per 90, 0.35, 0.23. So we're ahead on that. Head-on ratio is really poor for them. 64%, 61. And ours is, what is it? If we were to just pick up those two. 62.73. So there you are. But higher here too. I don't know, it's quite interesting. It's hard to look at too much right this second. I think that what I'll do is I'm not going to plan, I don't think, to sign anybody. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be signing anybody. I mean, is there any interest in anybody here? One player maybe, but that's it. But yeah, I'll tell you what, let's start off in January. Yeah, let's just carry on. Let's see if we get any offers in for players in January. Because, I mean, even if we do and we sell a player, we'll likely still go with the same squad and bowl our players at the end of the season anyway, so we'll save the scouting to the end of the season. But let's just see what happens. We're out the Cup, we're out the Europa League, and we're probably not going to win the title, so there aren't too many games to focus on right now. It's more about the team and the stats that we generate. It's not going to be a major feature of the save or directly, but we have got an excellent intake coming in for the youth intake, which is good news. Basically, whenever we've got money in the club, I will just keep upgrading. Obviously, the training facilities are very important to make sure that we have as high as we can. And the youth facilities will just upgrade too when we have the money to do so. Right now, we don't. But that's a really good start for the youth intake, which is good. Wow. That wasn't in the script, was it? I've actually just sold a couple of players, right? We've actually sold a couple of players, and they've rewarded me by telling me that. That is a pretty drastic drop in wage budget too. I mean, well, I guess there'll be no transfer activity in the January transfer window. Basically, what I looked at was everybody that the manager had played like less than 4 matches, I just transfer listed. And, well, I mean, I could activate some of these, but now they've just done that, I think we may as well wait to the end of the season, right, to activate those clauses. Yeah, not great. Okay, so the January transfer window has been concluded. We have not brought in anybody. We've sold some players. And the finances currently look like this. It's not looking great, is it? In January as well, results-wise, we didn't win a single game in January. Didn't even score a goal, so it's not looking good at all. I have put the assistant manager in charge of arranging friendlies. Didn't want to arrange one, I guess. But yeah, not a good January at all for us. And it's actually putting us in jeopardy of getting into that championship round. Don't forget, we have to finish. We are finishing the top 6, so we've got to be up there. We're not playing well at all. Not getting many good results whatsoever. And yeah, well, I guess there's not many more games to go. So what I'll do now is I'm going to go through February. I think we'll come back for the final 3 games. And what we'll do is we might watch them, we might not. Well, maybe what I'll do is if I am going to skip through matches from that point forwards, a holiday through the next day with you with me. So we both see the result reaction live together. We can go through it all together. So rather than me like cutting back and I've already seen the result before you do, we can both sort of see it together. So going to go through these 4 matches now, get through February, and let's see how we look at going into March for the 3 most important games of the season so far, I would probably say. So see you in a second. Okay, so the roller coaster of the season continues. We actually had a pretty good February and managed to go not only undefeated, but 3 wins in it as well. And it has left us currently 3rd in the league. But the last 3 matches could dictate whether we finish in the championship group or not. So we really do need to win these final few matches here and get ourselves in. I think we might watch the last game if the result is going to dictate if we get in or not. But we'll go through on holiday one at a time here. So we're playing against Leuven first. We're going to play against them. Let's go on holiday and see if the boys can pull out the wins. Any injuries going into the game? Not really. So the manager's got his full team to pick from. Let's see how he gets on. Do we get the win is the question. Has the manager done the business? We're Billy Beane. We're in the gym, not watching the game. And the answer is no. We actually don't get the win. We lose. We actually lose the match. So let's have a look at the league table after that result. I mean, some other teams need to play their match to see what the damage really is. So let's just go through on another day on holiday. We'll get the Sunday out of the way and see what that leaves us with. Hopefully we're still 3rd and nobody's really gained too much on us. So we dropped to 4th. We've dropped to 4th, 4 points clear of 5th, though, which means that you think we're going to be okay, really, from that, wouldn't you? You'd think so. But, I mean, let's see what happens. Let's go through to the next game and see if we can submit ourselves into the top 6 going into the final part of the season. Okay, so just played against Ghent. How did we get on? And it's a 1-1 draw. I mean, not many shots in the game, really, is there at all? 8 shots to 4, 1.37 actually to 0.69. Not the largest XG and amount of shots there, but we are going to get through to the top 6, which is really good news. Hang on, has everybody played the matches they have? Yeah, they have, because Antwerp have already played theirs. So that is it. That is confirmed. We are going to be going through the championship group at the end of the season, which is going to give us a chance to play for a European place. It just depends on which one. So let's skip through now and see how the fixtures line up. So the regular season is over, and that is our current points total here. Just go back and through and show you, yeah, the entire league table as it was. That is your league table. Finished 4th on 50 points, 9 points behind Genk. Is how it finished. I mean, fair play to the manager. He did pretty well. I think that he probably did about as good as realistically as we could have expected. Like he could have done a miracle season and won it, I guess, but he finished 4th, which is pretty good. Quite impressed with what he's done this year. I think, again, we'll go through the stats at the end of the season, but to show like I'll just show you one. The XG against was the biggest and probably most impressive stat that we saw. Yeah, and there you go. Like 24 goals expected against from us, and that was by far the best in the, well, not by far, I guess it just was the best in the entire division. So really, really good defensively from us. Very Mourinho-esque from the team. The way that we played, just so many, the type of goals we were scoring, very, very impressive stuff. So finishing in the top 6 gets you through to the championship group, as you can see here. So we play everybody twice yet again in the second part. So it's actually worked out, because of the way that the league system works, we actually have 25 points and Genk only get 30. So we are only 5 points behind them. So there is a chance we could still win everything, which, again, I'm not sure if that's. I don't know if can we beat that? Like, like it's quite an impressive start. Obviously, winning the Champions League is the main thing, but like long term, that is the long term aim. Once it's the main, obviously winning the Champions League is the long term thing, but like early doors, like winning the league would be quite impressive. Yeah, I guess we'll go through one at a time together. I guess we'll go through. If it gets very, very, I think towards the end, we'll watch these last matches anyway, because whether we win the league or we don't, the league finish really does matter in terms of what European competition we go into, as I mentioned before. And I don't think I would sack the manager whatever happens now, because the lowest we can finish is 6th. But I feel like that if he was to finish 5th or 6th, we do our Moneyball transfers, and then we have a really bad start next season, that could put him under a bit of pressure. But we'll see what happens here. The NXGN 2024 best 51 kids in football has come out, and that is your list right there. If you want to, I don't know, pause the video and go through it yourself, just have a bit of interest. There you go. That's your total Wonder Kids. Yeah, I mean, good for them. I mean, we can't use this list to sign players, by the way. But if some of these players appear in our normal searching, then that's fine. But we can't use that list to then go and scout them and stuff like that. Right then, first game in the Championship Group, we're going to play against STVV, and we're going to see how we get on. They are currently the worst team in the top 6 according to the current league standings. So let's see how we get on against them first. I don't know what to expect from this, really. We've had some really weird periods, haven't we, where we've been like, we go through and win 4 games that are 4 in a month, and then games where we don't score in 4 matches, and then periods where we don't score in 4 matches. And we start off with a big 1-0 defeat. Not good, is it? Let's have a look at the stats. How do we play? Created no chances, gave up complete control of the game to the opposition. Yeah, that's not a good start, is it? You can feel the fans starting to get frustrated with the style of football. You can sort of sense it, can't you? If it was you can sense the fans getting frustrated with the style of football it's going to cost us. But we move on. We'll see how we get on in the next one. 2-1 against Genk. Okay, that's good. We'll take that. Big 2-1 against Genk. That just sums us up, doesn't it? We play the worst team, lose, play one of the better sides, and then in fact weren't Genk top? They were top. We're 3 points off the top. We're 3 points off from winning the league. I don't believe it. I don't believe what I'm seeing. And I don't know if we should be happy about this or not. Like, I mean, it's standards are pretty high to hit then. Well, Club Brugge are next, and they'll play against second place. Let's see how we get on in this one. It is a 2-0 defeat against Club Brugge, leaving us dangerously in European places. All of a sudden, we go from winning the league to being dangerous in European places. I hope it's like this every year, because what it'll mean is it'll just it makes it really close every year, regardless if you're feeling like you're quite out of it or you're about to win it, and win it comfortably in the regular part of the season. So yeah, 2-0 defeat against Club Brugge. Move on to Standard Liège away. So we'll see how we get on that one. I mean, like, it's a good job as Moneyball save, isn't it? Because now the club have got a bank loan of £7 million to cover the club's current costs. That isn't good, is it? I mean, it's nothing we've done. We've not spent a single penny. Well, we did hire the manager on a pretty big wage, I guess. But I guess we did contribute to that, didn't we? I guess. But I mean, I don't think I don't think that's what's cost us all this. I don't think that's what's put us in this predicament, though, is it? I don't think it's just that. So, but yeah, not great. Standard Liège, a big 1-0 win away from home. And they got red card to absolutely no chances created. Completely boring game of football for the neutral. We don't care about that. We are here to buy wins. And we are currently 5 points off the top still. I mean, we're there. I'm telling you, we're there. It's within reach. We also have our first youth intakes. Let's go through this. Well, I mean, I don't know why I clicked on him, because I thought I could see how good he is. But yeah, I guess that was a total waste of time. I guess we'll just have all these players signed, and we'll just sign all these players and see how it all develops, I guess, from this point forwards. But according to this, they really do rate that guy quite highly, don't they? And it's a very good intake, apparently. Here we go then, Anderlecht. Anderlecht at home, going into the real final stretch of the season. And we won 3-0, and that puts us, what? It puts us, we're still, I tell you what, though, it's so close, isn't it? We could easily win the next 2 matches or lose the next 2 matches. And if you win the next 2 matches, you could be pretty much, well, you technically could go completely top, but you'll be really close to being top, I think. And if we lose 2 matches in a row, we're going to be very close to being out of the European places. So we're currently mid-table of our current table, I guess, really well placed. But we've got Genk and STV next. I'm going to skip past those 2, but we're going to watch the Club Brugge game. If there's anything riding on it, like title-wise, I just can't believe we're here. Like, I never thought we'd get anywhere near this. But we are, so we'll see what happens. Clearly, this manager is just a masterstroke. What a decision. But we'll see how we get on in the next one. One thing I forgot to mention, actually, while we're going through on holiday here, I think what's quite important is I mentioned about the the Brighton CEO that did an interview on a podcast, and he talks about how they always have the next person sort of lined up to take over, whether it's a coaching member of staff or if it's a player for a position. So what I think we need to start doing as well is shortlisting some managers early on to be like our next ones, so that when we do sack the manager, we don't have to go through a process of thinking, oh shit, let's go search for managers. We can search for managers that are currently at clubs right now, and we can go through, make sure they fit everything that we want them to fit in terms of the playing formation and the tactical style and that kind of stuff. And then when it comes to getting a new manager, we might have like a list of 20. And hopefully within that 20, there'll be one of them that will match, our criteria in that moment. And also on top of that, though, we can look at how they've done. So it might be that the manager that looked the least desirable when we put the list together, that 2 seasons later, when it comes to actually hiring, they've got a team promoted or won a trophy, and they've actually gone on to do really well. So maybe then we do fancy going for the different manager. And it'll get quite exciting, because the longer we go on, it's going to be a really good chance that we're going to be hiring current real-life players that are at the top of their game right now. We're going to be hiring them as managers later on, you would expect anyway. So, yeah, we'll see. Anyway, what was the result? We lost 2-0 to Genk, okay. So it puts us back to 6 points behind both Club Brugge and Genk. So one more to go through here, and then we'll see. I mean, it's getting close, isn't it? It's getting very, very close. But STVV next. We'll see how we get on against them. Okay, next match, finish 2-1 defeat. Okay, so it does look like we're not going to be going for well, definitely not win the title now. But what is really important is where we finish in the league. So probably going to skip the Club Brugge game. Then maybe for one of these last two, we'll come back to actually watch the game. Maybe the last one only, because it's going to dictate European finish. Like right now, we can't finish bottom, really. I guess technically we could. Take a lot, wouldn't it? We should finish fourth. We should finish at least fourth, I would hope. But we'll see. We'll see going into the last one. We'll watch the last game if we need to here. Okay, the boys got a big 1-0 win against Club Brugge, putting us back into third place. It's getting very, very close. The manager's doing, I mean, just when you start to think, oh, we're in trouble. Every time you think, oh, we're in trouble, he always comes back and gets us some results out of nowhere. I've got quite a bit of faith in him, and I quite like the fact he's so different to what I was expecting. So we move on to the next game against Standard Liège at home, and we'll see how they set us up going into the last game. But that is your current state of play. 3 points off of second, 6 points off of first, level with STVV, and 4 points clear of Standard Liège. It's getting very tight. We'll see how we end up. How do we get on? We got a 0-0 draw against Standard Liège. Okay, so going into the last game, we cannot finish below fourth. That is the really good news. We cannot finish below fourth. We are guaranteed a Europa. I think. Oh, hang on, what is it here? Okay, so this is your state of play. Fourth place gets you into the Europa League, depending on the winner of the Croquis Cup. And the fourth place, though, I guess depending on that, it could be fifth, goes to the European places playoff. Now, you think, okay, well, who are you playing against then? Why is only one team? If you end up in the second tier so if you end up in the second phase and you win that, you go through to the European places playoff. So basically, fourth will play first of the other section, if you're with me. That's what this is saying right here. Who won the cup, actually? I've not even checked who won the cup, to be honest. Is it Club Brugge? Have they played it yet? They have played it. So Club Brugge have won it, and I'm sure they're top right. Yeah, so they're already in. Right, let's play Anderlecht and let's see what happens. Here we go then. Last game of the season against Anderlecht. We're going to see how the team plays out, and we're going to see if the team gets themselves through to European football. And we get a 2-0 defeat, which leaves us in fourth place. So because Club Brugge have won the cup, right, it means that the fourth place is then guaranteed the Europa League place, which then means fourth place is no longer the European playoff position, it goes to fifth. So Anderlecht should have to play in the European playoff. Yeah, so Anderlecht then play in the European places playoff against Charleroi, and just to make sure this is all making sense and everybody's following along, it must mean that they finished top of the second phase, and they did. So it all works out. So in case you're wondering how to play in Belgium, yeah, when you get to the championship phase, fourth place is like automatically goes to the league if the winner of that cup is in, I guess, the top three. If it's not, I guess the winner of the cup, wherever they finish, they go in, and then fourth place goes to European places playoff. So if you want to guarantee yourself European football, finish in the top four, then you're sorted, at least with the coefficients and the way it works in Season 1. We are actually in. That gets us in to the Europa League, which is great for us. Okay, so the season has ended. We are finished in 4th place. We've got ourselves into European football. We've got the minimum objectives, I would say. We've got ourselves into a good position. Transfer budget of -£1. That isn't great. That's not the official budget for the next year. In fact, they're not giving it to us yet. But let's do a quick end-of-season review first before we get into the budgets. And before we start doing our Moneyball scouting, let's do an end-of-season review. Let's analyse some of our team stats together, some player stats, and then we'll circle back through. So let's have a look on the face of it. Average possession, let me get out the way as much as I can here. We'll go here. So, average possession, 11th place, 48%. I mean, really low on that, aren't we? Which is quite impressive. We still ended up that low. I know we started there for quite a while. Most yellow cards in the league. Okay, I don't care about the form. We'll look at the attacking. XG performance, we ended up 6th for that. Non-penalty expected goals for 9th. So, not enough creativity, not enough chances created. Pass completion ratio, we were 12th with a 86%. Yeah, pass completion, that's not brilliant, I guess. Chances created, we finished on 102, which was 8th best in the league, bang mid-table. You can tell already that the chances created is a bit of an issue, isn't it? Which I think we're going to have to try and rectify with midfielders next season in particular. But we'll check that in a second. We'll double check. We'll cross-reference our players' stats with the Moneyball stats and see where we're low on that. Dribbles per game, we were 4th. Possessions lost, we were one of the worst teams for the amount of possessions that were lost. Final third passes for per game, we were 11th. Like, that's really poor. Like, our in-possession metrics there and the data that it shows us is that if we were equally as good defensively as we were in possession, we'd be like a mid-table team, really, which shows you just how good we've been defensively. But look at us, XG against 36.63, the best in the entire division, the entire league. We are the best in terms of stopping the team from creating chances, which is quite impressive. Tackle-1 ratio, middle of the road. This is interesting to look at here. Tackles won, we got a lot of tackles won, because I'm looking at where we scored. I mean, to be fair, though, we're not really looking too much at the out-of-possession stuff, are we? Possessions, interception, 12th. Passes completed against... Got quite a few passes completed against. That shows you probably aren't pressing as intensely as we could. OPPDA, doing okay. They're not great. Headers lost per game, quite high on that, actually, which is slightly worrying. Average headers by capacity was good. Sellouts was good. So we're selling out the stadium. Net transfer spend, we're down there with -1.43 million. And team salary, bottom of the division. Can you imagine if we managed to do this entire series with the worst team salary in the entire league every time? I mean, obviously that's not going to happen. For us to win the Champions League, we could maybe be bottom of the Champions League, or close to the bottom, maybe not completely bottom. Okay, I've just made the manager pick the team based off of, well, I guess, what he thinks is the best team. So this is the team that he largely selected this season. So let's go through the starting 11. He played quite a few games too. Could we get him in the team? No, I'll leave him in there as well. So you got 12 players there that we're going to be looking at the data for. We'll start off with the centre-backs. So Makeda here managed to get himself some pretty good stats. In fact, I'm going to make sure I have up the Moneyball spreadsheet so I can cross-reference this while we go. Okay, so I've just put the Moneyball number up on the screen with me, just so you can see what I'm seeing when we look at players. In fact, is that on centre-back? It is on centre-back, just double-checking there. So look at Makeda. Analyse this. Tackle win ratio. The Moneyball number is 70. What we got here? 77%. He's 78, so pretty close. Tackles per 90 is 1.18, and he's at 0.94, so less tackles. Key tackles, we're at 0.28. He's at 0.31. So yeah, I mean, like, as we're looking at it, interceptions per 90. We're looking for 2. He's got 1.21. Like, he's not bad. I mean, don't forget, we played quite a weird style of football compared to a team that should be winning the league. Like, we're quite a defensive side, but like possessions, he's not that hard on possessions won, though, really, which is quite a surprise. Well, what is in possession stats for a centre-back? Is he any good for this? Open play, key passes. He's a bit low on that. Dribbles per 90, doesn't do any of that. Progressive passes per 94, we're looking 4.72. Like, he's consistently below everything on metrics. Header win ratio, he's only a tiny bit below on that. But the out of possession ones, like the tackle win ratio, is pretty much bang on. Tackles per 90 slightly lower. Key tackles per 90, he's above. And I said to you, didn't I? I said that stat for centre backs is quite an important one, and quite often the high performing centre backs do have a good key tackles per 90 relative, I guess, to their playing style and their division. So he does hit on the major metrics defensively. He does hit, and then everything else he's actually a bit below on, which is surprising because the team was great defensively. So I guess we move on. If we compare it to the other centre back, so just as good tackle ratio, just as good tackles per 90, slightly lower key tackles per 90. But see, he balances them out, right? Because the absolute key ones that I look at, Makeda's got those, and then our other centre-back here has got the other bits. Even less possessions 1 per 90. Between the two of them, the possessions 1 per 90 is very, very low, which is surprising. So I'm just guessing that then all the defensive work's being done in front of them by the midfield three. Let's just have a look. I'll tell you what, let's have a quick look here at that. This is central midfielders, right? This is central midfielders. I'm looking at Puertas here, who's probably played pivot, and he's probably played central midfielder. He's got to play both, hasn't he? A bit of both. I'm just going to compare his. So tackle win ratio is 77. We're looking for... Hang on, so we're still on centre-back view. Sorry, let's have a look at this. Open play key passes. Let's skip all that. I'm going to go straight to the opposition. So tackle win ratio 77. We're looking for 73. So he is significantly ahead of that. Tackles per 90. We need 2.07. He's got 2.42. So the two first metrics out of possession for a defensive field player, he's well ahead of the Moneyball number. Interceptions per 90. We're looking for 1.5. He has 1.82. Pressures attempted per 90. He's ahead. Pressures completed per 90 is slightly below, but that one doesn't really matter. And then possessions 1, let's just make sure this is all in. Possessions 1, 8.27, which he's quite low on that as well. But tackle win ratio, tackles per 90, interceptions per 90, all three of those, he is significantly ahead of the Moneyball number. See, that doesn't surprise me because we've been very, very good defensively. And if the centre-backs aren't doing anything out of the ordinary, anything extreme, those two stats are key. It's not all of them. He's not going to be ahead on all of them, but he's ahead on those important ones. But that's quite interesting to see that. I had a feeling that must be the case. And he's probably not the only one, right? If I was to look at Amani here and Rasmussen, although they're not really pivot players, if we were to look at them and compare them as like more defensive players, we've got 80 and 72 for tackle win ratio, and we're looking for 73. So, in fact, let me just highlight these two here. Then we've got for tackles per 90, 1.72, 2.09. One's below, but Rasmussen's ahead. So Amani is ahead of the tackle win ratio for a central midfield player, but Rasmussen's ahead on the tackles per 90. So again, we're recreating in the aggregate. You know, that's quite impressive. Interceptions per 90, they're both ahead. Both of those players are ahead of interceptions per 90. Like, it's just incredible how good those three players have been defensively. Like, these two players in particular, I don't really want to see these two players go at all. And they're not worth too much money either. So, I mean, I think these two are way undervalued. For the playing style that we have and the quality of stats they produce, there is no way we could sell them and buy their replacements, I don't think, for a similar price. Like, they are very, very, very good players for the style that we're playing. They're not the problem, I don't think. Now, there's a case maybe that out of Rasmussen and Mane, maybe you could let one go and replace him with somebody who is going to still get you similar defensive metrics, but is going to be significantly better in possession too. So let's take a look at that while we're looking at this. This is now looking at the number 10 and more attacking central field player, the number 8, number 10 type stats here. So without even looking, I've not looked at the sheet to cross-reference all of this yet. I'm going to assume they're going to be slightly below on in-possession output, maybe significantly, we'll see. I mean, assists per 90 is... I mean, let's go expected assists. Let's just go straight to that. 0.23 is expected assists. Both of them are relatively close, you would say. Open play, key passes per 90, both of them are below. We're looking for 1.61. We're below on that. So far, below on those two metrics. Chances created per 90, we're looking for 0.58. We've got two players significantly lower on that. Progressive passes per 90, we're looking at 3.8, we're lower on that. I don't really care about the passes completed and pass completion, but those are more like pivot stats from Amani there. Conversion ratio, we've got a 2% and 6%. We're looking for 14. I mean, so we're getting hardly any offensive production from them in terms of scoring goals and converting the chances. They're missing a lot of the chances that they do get. And they're not anywhere near creative enough, especially as a pair. Now, what would be really interesting, something to look out for this time next season, if we sign somebody who is significantly better in possession and they throw up similar stats, we can put it down to the manager, the roles he asks the players to do in his playing style. But right now, that tells me that one of these two players has to go and they need to be replaced by somebody better in possession. which one goes is a very tough one. I guess whichever one is worth more, because they're very similar in the output they've given. They're slightly different players. Like, I know Amani has got interest in him, so maybe he's the one that goes, but it's exciting stuff, this, isn't it? I absolutely love this. It's so much fun to look at. But yeah, there you go. So what's really good there? We've just identified a problem. Wow, no. We've not identified a problem. What we've just done there is identified a solution to our, we were here. We had a really good first year. How do we get to that next level? I think we've just done it. If we made one signing and that was it in this transfer window, it's going to be that. That's 100% where we're behind, I think, of our counterparts in the league. So that's definitely the first thing we're going to look at, is probably central midfield. When it comes to actually buying the players, that's the first player we're going to buy before we have to worry about the budgets. We're going to scout everybody, every position, but the first purchase we make is going to be there because it has to be, doesn't it? Based off of this. Okay, the next area we could be generating offensive output would be wing-backs. So let's take a look at the wing-backs now and see what we were getting out of them. Okay, so we're looking at Kevin McAllister and Fede Layson. That's how we pronounce that. So we're going to be looking at them, not main view. We want the wing-back view is what we need here. So, okay, dribbles per 90. So we are looking for 2.08 dribbles per 90, and we've got 0.87, 0.43. Right. The very next thing I'm going to look at is progressive passes per 90. So we need 6.7. We're getting 6.24 from Kevin McAllister, which is that's good. That's really close. And then 4.29 from Layson. Okay, not as good. Open play key passes per 90, we're looking at 0.92. We've got 0.77, 0.78. We've got 0.77, 0.78. Okay, that's fine. Chances created per 90, we're looking for 0.22. And we've got 0.13, 0.26. That's not great, is it, though, from McAllister there. Let's look at the defensive metrics. Tackle win ratio 79% is required. They're both pretty close for that. Tackles per 92.59, they're both above that. And looking at maybe what the next thing may be, maybe possessions won. They're the only position where possessions won's relatively close to the amount. In fact, Layson's ahead. Possessions won is 13.2 is the Moneyball number, and they're both ahead of that. What would be on the agenda here? I think in addition to a central midfield improvement, with more creative output, the second thing to this would be a attacking left back that gets good dribbles per 90. That, I think, is very clear for what we want. And then maybe progressive passes too. And it's going to be a left back because we don't really have a left back, right? Fede Layson's like a centre back playing left back. Now, the manager does quite often play an inverted fullback with an inverted wing back. So that's why dribbles per 90, I don't always care about that, because if they're playing as a DM, let's call it, defensive field player, having good progressive passes or open play key passes or something like, or chances created, but progressive passes is the thing that I'm really looking at. Kevin McAllister is getting those. Fede Layson is not. So I think that an offensive central midfield player and then a attacking wing back so far are the things to look for. So if they hit the offensive outputs in those positions, but they don't quite do the out of possession as much, we can allow that, I think, if we need to. Getting somebody who hits everything is perfect, but we see where the problems are occurring, right? And I think the final thing to look at here, we'll look at wingers then strikers, because we know Kevin Rodriguez has outdone the wide players, and it's quite noticeable that our striker wasn't our top goal scorer, so we need to look at his stats too. I've just put the two wingers at the top to make it a bit easier so we can see clearly who we're looking at here, but look at the top two players right here. So looking at this list, I mean, goals and assists are always on there, but I don't really care about that. It's, the goals per 90, assists per 90 are far more important if you're looking at goals and assists. But even that, I don't really care about wingers per se. It's more the conversion ratio and shot on target that I look at for wingers. Anyway, dribbles per 90. Kevin Rodriguez gets 4.63 dribbles per 90. The target is 4.14, so he's above on that. Let's look at Rodriguez first on his own. And Loic gets 1.80. So that is quite clearly, yes, the player quality and player type plays a part, but that is quite clearly a role difference between the right and left-hand sides. Cross completion, not too bothered about that, but it's 16%, where Loic does get that and Kevin does not. Sprints per 90, we're looking for somebody that gets 14.95, and Kevin Rodriguez is really close, but Loic is far ahead of that, which is quite impressive. Open play key passes per 90, we're looking for somebody with 1.5, and we've got 1.28 and 0.85, so a bit low on the open play key passes. We're not a very creative team, we've sort of gathered that. Progressive passes, chances created per 90, 0.48. Kevin Rodriguez is close, Loic is below. Progressive passes, we're looking for 3.14. Loic is ahead, Kevin is low. So between them, one of them is always quite low on each stat, and the other one is either really close or in line or slightly above. Shot on target ratio, we are looking for somebody that gets 43%. They have 57 and 53, so they're both above on that. And then conversion ratio, we're looking for 13, and they both got above that. That's quite good. And I think that's what's probably saved the offensive output of the team, is you've got two wingers that are both relatively clinical, get a lot of shots on target, and then convert a bloody lot of shots as well. So fair play to them. Really impressed with those two. No surprise they both got interest. Kevin doesn't. Kevin Rodriguez has no interest in him. If we were to sell him, would we get money? We'd get some. I mean, that's perplexing a little bit, that. But there you are. So if we're looking for a winger, somebody relatively close to what we've got. I mean, Kevin Rodriguez, how tall is he? 6'3", 8. He does win a lot of headers, doesn't he? But both of them are relatively tall. 5'11", 6'3". I think we probably go for somebody slightly similar to this. But yeah, let's see anyway. Let's move on. Okay, so the final position we're going to look at is the striker. We only had one striker, really. Amora here. Let's go straight in to non-XG per 90. Non-penalty XG per 90. We have got 0.32. We were looking for 0.49, so below on that. XG overperformance. The top strikers that win leagues and go win the Champions League get an 8. He has got 1.84. Not great. Minutes per goal, we're looking for somebody who can score at a rate of 124 minutes per goal. 241, so not great. Conversion ratio, 90% required. He's got 21, so that's quite a lot of shots. That's quite good, to be fair. Shot on target ratio is slightly below. Shots on target per 90. He gets 0.89. We should be getting 2.15. Again, that can come down to how good your team is versus the other team. Many factors. That's not really his fault. So I don't really care too much about this. Dribbles per 90, he is above. So, I mean, looking at this, he seems to be more like a winger. He's down as a natural striker. I mean, just looking at his traits, his physical stature, I mean, he looks more like a winger to me. I don't think he should be played as the striker, especially with the style of football that we play. I mean, we've got two options with him. We could sell him, cash in, and move on, or we could try and, this is where I take over his training, make him learn to play one of the wing positions, make him natural, but and hope the manager then starts selecting there. Again, we could force the manager to select him. I'm not going to do that this early on in the save. The manager's performing so well, he doesn't warrant that interference just yet. But I mean, look at the header 1 ratio, right? The strikers that win the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, and win the Champions League in the game, they get a header win ratio of 45%. Our striker had 7%. Only 7%. That's a monumental drop. I mean, you'd think maybe him and Kevin Rodriguez should be swapped. Maybe Kevin Rodriguez should be the bloody striker. What are we doing, manager? In fact, Kevin Rodriguez, I'm going to make him now. He can go and be a striker. And we're going to put Aura. He can learn to play on the right-hand side, I think. Just to get him natural in different positions, if we can there, and help encourage that. So, yeah, there you are. So that was your, I guess, stats, end of season review of the player stats. I think, what do we take from that? I think what we take from that is quite clearly, we are a very defensive, solid team. What I don't want to do is overhaul the team too much in the other direction and lose that defensive structure, because I want to see the team do it again, because it's quite a small sample size, only one season. Let's see if we can do it again. So I don't want to mess that up too much, but quite clearly, to take that next step, we need to get an improvement in the offensive output of the central field players. We need more offensive output from the wingers. We need a striker that's 1 more clinical and 2 better in the air. So we need those 3 things. So we're looking at a central field player that's more offensive, a wing back, a left back for definite that's more offensive, and then a striker who's slightly better in the air than the current one. And I think just those 3 things would be good. I mean, yeah, I think even maybe that would be okay on its own, because if we kept Loic and we kept Kevin Rodriguez, you have Loic, Kevin, and Amora. Those 3 could be your 3 wingers. We could bring in a striker to be like the other striker that could play. Yeah, the other issue is going to be the transfer budget. I would normally look at my squad and think, right, let's just sell everybody and we can invest back into the squad. Like this guy here apparently is a very good young prospect. Being worth this much money makes me think we should just sell him. Yeah, before we end though, let's do the actual in-game end of season review and let's see what the budget is going to be for next time. What we'll do is we'll do all of the Moneyball scouting. where we go through and scout for the players. We're going to do all of that in the next episode. We'll do the Moneyball scouting, the Moneyball transfers, and then we'll go on from there. Like this first season is going to be the one season that's going to be different to the others. Budget is going to be 125. Wage budget is 88 grand. That's not great, is it? But we've got 100% of the transfers that we sell. So we need to sell players early to activate that. In fact, straight away, I think what I would do now that's come in, let's just activate all these. Let's just get all these coming in. Let's get all that in. Put the bank balance. Right, that's got us up to 2.33 million. So that gives us a bit of breathing space to be able to bring some players in. Have we got players out on loan, actually, that could come in and do a job, like, and get us some money? The answer to that is no. Oh, no, there is a couple... But no, nobody really here is worth too much. I mean, some of the youngsters that we've just signed to contracts, but obviously they're not going to be gone yet. But yeah, this is a challenge. It's a really good challenge. We've got not much money. We haven't got the biggest stadium. We're in a difficult spot, but with lots of room to improve, lots of exciting potential with this situation. It's really good that we've. This is why I love this sort of like first stats generating, story generating season. We got close, didn't quite get there with the manager that plays a very defensive style of football that's got a very, very clear strength in his game model and perhaps a slight weakness, but we could potentially offset that with our data and bringing the players in and bringing the right profile of players in to come and improve maybe his results. So going into next season, I think that anybody that wasn't in his starting 11 can go. And one of the two central midfield players can definitely go. I mean, there isn't anybody that I would say can't go. I just don't want to sell everybody. I don't want to lose the essence of the team. There's going to be perhaps quite a lot of cost-effective signings in this first season. Very, very tough it's going to be. We've got ourselves into European football at least, which is going to be a lifeline for us. The manager, Rui Faria, has done a great first season for us. Fair play to him. Lots of respect for Rui Faria and the job that he's come in and done for us. Quite impressed with everything that he's been able to do. Team's in a good place with lots of room to improve. And let's finish off with the end of season review and see how things looked from the game's perspective. So, club's got no money, and we decided to spend £2 million on putting undersaw heating in. So it looks like the Anderlecht got themselves into the European competitions. And there you go. That is going to be now the end of a season review for us. Let's go. Yeah, I guess none of this matters because we haven't really bought anybody. So the board have given us a B for the league. Wow, us and the manager. B- for the Europa League. And yeah, not great in the cup either. So we'll move on. Match remember against Genk, goal of the season over here. Biggest win was 4-1 against Westerlo. Finances. I mean, all this stuff isn't really... it's not really too much to take notice of until next season. Reputation hasn't changed. I guess that's good. We haven't lost anything. And there's your shirt sold there, the most shirts sold. That is the best 11 for the season, which you can see there. Yeah, it looks pretty much the same as what we looked at. Or they put our young player in midfield as the pivot there. Player awards. So, fans player of the season was Kevin Rodriguez, young player of the season. 24 years old. Come on. We can't be having that. Young player of the season can't be 24 years old. But there you go. That's what they're giving it to. Going through here, anything else to look at? I mean, not too much. I mean, record breakers. We've got quite a few here. Most goals in a season. Most league goals in a season. Most clean sheets. Loads of stuff. History in and the making. Manager timeline is that. And yeah, not too much there to show in the first season. But there you are. Got £4.4 million though. We needed that. We're back in the plus. Oh, almost got back into the plus money. My biggest fear is to rebalance the squad the way that I need to, is that it's going to be Kevin Rodriguez to go. Because if we can get 5 million straight up for him, him and Noah, like, I think Noah's definitely going to go. Because he's young, he's worth loads of money. I feel like that Puertas can play as the pivot, and we could buy a more advanced central midfield, and then we could buy a more advanced central midfield player to go in. But anyway, we'll see how it all plays out. But that is going to do the episode. When we come back next time, we are going to be doing the Moneyball scouting. First of all, we're going to go through every single position that we could possibly want. We're going to be getting loads of players on the shortlist. We're going to build our database for the future, because if we don't buy them this year, they're still going to stay on our on our list, and we'll be able to keep track of them into future seasons too. And then we're going to start, after we've done the Moneyball scouting, we'll go through the summer transfer window. We'll be doing our Moneyball transfers and our Moneyball recruitment in the next episode too, and then going on to watch our first ever game with our Moneyball team, because really this was almost the team that we have started with first season. It's going to be probably our team going into next season, even if it's just a few players, because the players we've kept, because they've hit the metrics that we want. So they are being kept because we want them here. We are not going to keep anybody that has not been hitting the metrics at least good enough. So excited about next season, excited to see what we can do in the transfer window and see how close we can bridge the gap to the teams above us. I mean, we did really well. We were hard to beat. Got a lot of draws in the season. 51 goals scored, 40 against. We had a really good start to this season. I'm really interested to see what we can do with the squad, and then how the manager does with the larger sample size going into next season. But that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you're enjoying the series so far, and I'll see you, of course, next time.